Okay, welcome to tutorial 2 of modeling spur gears, and in this tutorial we're going to create a second gear that's half the size of this one using the same add-in. But before we do, in the last video, if you remember, I said I would have to check on the bore of this gear that we put in here, this hole in here, and see if it was the right size, and of course it wasn't, so I'm going to show you how to fix it. So down in your history, yours is probably collapsed, so let's go plus and open up the group for our spur gear. The very first sketch, if you double click it, there we go, you can see this is where the circle for the bore was drawn. And what we're going to do is hit D on the keyboard and dimension that circle and make it a 6mm circle. Hit finish and everything's good now. It was supposed to be 6. So we're finishing up there. Okay, next let's draw a second gear. So how do we do that? Let's look at it from the top. Look straight at it. Let's go up to create. Let's go spur gear. And now a couple things we have to change. The number of teeth is down. Now you can see I was already playing with it, but yours would say 32 because that was the last gear you drew. You're going to have to change that to 16. And your last root fillet radius for down here at the bottom of the tooth, that was 0.9. It's now to be 0.45. 0.9 would probably result in an undercut. So we're going to go 0.45mm and then push OK. It's going to generate another gear. Now, it always puts the add-in. It was designed to always place the gear on the origin. We're now going to move the gear into proper position. See, we have two gears over here listed as components. We're going to right-click on the 16-tooth one, click Move Copy, and then this arrow here would drag it this way. Watch, I'll just pull it off a bit. That's the X distance if we look at the dialog over here. So we're actually going to put it back on origin, so put that back to 0. And the X distance is not going to be something that we just drag. We're actually going to put the number we need in. And the number is based on the pitch diameters. So I'm going to go into these two components over here and turn on the final sketch of each. That's this one. And then make sure it's on for the other one. Final sketch. There we go. And that makes our pitch diameters visible, right? Because that last sketch was drawing that pitch diameter reference line. So back to the X distance here, we're going to actually make the distance the radius of this gear to the pitch diameter and the radius of this gear to its pitch diameter. So the large gear had an overall pitch diameter of 64, so we're going to say that this is 32. And then we're going to add to it, and Fusion can do math, hit the plus sign, the half of the pitch diameter of the second gear. So that would be 16 because it had an overall pitch diameter of 32. So now if I zoom in on this, before I, gotta go back to there we go, zoom in. It's gonna, as you control and scroll, it bounces it around. You could probably see, this one's pitch diameter is showing pretty light, hard to see, but what it does is it places each one of the pitch diameters on top of each other exactly. So those teeth are now perfectly positioned, which may or may not be good for 3D printing. It is perfectly good for machining, but not great for 3D printing perhaps if it gets too tight, but I think it'll work. So we're just going to say OK. Oh, capture position, what the heck? And we're going to say, we're not going to say OK yet. We're almost done. Now what we have to do is rotate this gear because you can see the teeth are bumping into each other. We're going to rotate so they fit together properly. So we've moved it in the X direction. So now we're going to rotate it. And it says, well, axis of rotation. Well, this circle will be its axis. And you can see we can do a certain number of degrees. And what if I just move it 1 degree? Well, you can see it just moves it a little bit. What if I move it 5 degrees? It's starting to get closer. Let's try 10 degrees. Closer still, not quite there. Well, the number you're looking for is 11.3. And that's just by trial and error. The 0.3 is accommodating that backlash that we put in there, and the 11 degrees is what we needed based on the gears and the teeth we have and the diameters. So basically you would just play around with this angle until they fit just right in between each other, and then you push OK. But in this case, you're just going to put 11.3. Push OK. Okay, so we moved them. we position them. I'm going to go top level here for activate so you can see them both. And I'm going to turn off the pitch diameter. Well, you can see them now. Those pitch diameters are right on top of each other as they come around. And that is it for making a second gear. I'm just turning some stuff off over here and doing some tidy up, closing my menus. And we are ready to build a base to rotate these gears on. See that in the next video.